Welcome to my channel. I'm Helen Page, the Smart Cookie, and this is my new series that I call I'm Only Old on the Outside. So what do I mean by that? Well, obviously, I've been around the block a few times. My joints hurt, my eyes are failing, I have bad hearing, I've been operated on probably every square inch. I've had open heart surgery. I've had a bout of lung cancer. I have my female organs removed, my thyroid removed. I've been got an itch in my eye, which has nothing to do with my age. But with all that, I'm still 12 years old in here and in here. And I want to talk about aging. Now, sometimes when people talk about aging, they talk about all the things that are wrong with them. But that's not what I mean by aging. I want you to know what it's like to be me going about my daily life. I want to dispel some of the ideas people have about growing older. Now, sometimes people think growing older means you go to bed in the peak of good health, maybe when you're 25 years old, and all of a sudden you wake up the next morning and you look like me. And that's not what happens. We age gradually. We start aging the moment we're born. You know, we come into this world wrinkled and pink and kind of what we look like when you were my age, but we're kind of thrashing around. We can't speak, we have no teeth, and we can't eat. We probably are not very good at figuring out what's going on around the world. Everything in the world, everything's strange. And a few hours later, we're learning to breathe on our own, and we're hungry. We know how to get some attention, get some food in our belly. The next morning, we're a day older. And that's how it works. We age very gradually. And people talk about looking in the mirror one day and being surprised and saying, how did I get to be so old? Because aging sneaks up on us. And we get to be 30, 40, 50, 60 without really knowing how it happened. Sometimes, of course, aging comes with a shock. We develop an illness, we have an accident, and we can't move and do things that we used to. But I'm talking about the large percentage of us who have the good fortune to age as nature seems to have intended. And we age gradually, and we adapt to the things that change in ourselves. And my hair is getting in my eye. And we adapt to life so that we can live comfortably. And even though I've had my own medical issues, that's pretty much what I've done. I live in a one-bedroom apartment. I've been here for 33 years now. I live alone. I don't have any medical aids except for a cane. Now, back in 2012, when I was 72, I had to have open heart surgery. I found out that there was something wrong with a valve in my heart when I was in my 50s. So that wasn't a result actually of old age. That's because, or poor eating practices, but it's actually is because of something in my family. I have several family members who have this maladaptive heart valve. Mine got very serious, as did a niece of mine, and she had to have hers operated on in her 50s. Mine withstood the test of time until I was 70, and then all of a sudden I found out, kind of shockingly, that I had to have heart surgery. At the time, medical science has changed, and this surgery is much easier now, but at the time, I had to be put on something they called a pump. I won't go into details, but in that process, I had a little stroke in my cerebellum, and strokes are terrible things. I feel lucky that the only effect of the stroke, which is permanent, the only effect is that when I sit down, I'm perfectly fine. I can drive. I can write my books. I can coach my clients, edit my clients' books. But as soon as I stand up, in fact, as soon as I stand up, I get very wobbly, and I can't walk without a cane. I have a high risk of falling. I have not done that since I had my surgery and my stroke. I'm very careful about that. But that's really the only effect of my stroke. And so those are the outward signs of aging for me. On the inside, I really don't feel any different from the way I did when I was young and growing up, when I was a kid. I get excited about things in life. I get sad about things. I have this normal feelings and emotions that other people do. People say, what's it like to be 87 years old? I don't know. I can't tell you. What am I supposed to feel like? I feel the way I've always felt. Sex is a big thing in everybody's life, and the thing that has startled me about sex growing older is that young people think when you get to be my age, even when you get to be much younger, young people seem to think the idea of sex somehow disappears from your mind, and older people somehow have amnesia when it comes to sex, because when you walk into a room, if somebody's discussing sex or telling an off-color joke, they say, oh my gosh, she's here. We have to either use sign language or change the subject, like we don't know how babies get here. Or if I mention that I've written a spicy romance, they were very shocked. And they would be very surprised to learn how often I discuss sex with my friends who are my age, because the notion of sex, the idea of sex, the desire for sex doesn't go away just because you age. Now, the performance may change. I don't have those hormones anymore, and so, my wish for sex maybe doesn't dominate my life the way it once did, but I certainly have desires to be loved and held and comforted the way I did when I was younger. But, the actions are very different. And I don't think people talk about that enough. People assume that when you get to be a certain age, sex isn't part of your life. And that's not true. You can ask my friends about that. You'd be surprised how often little old ladies get together and what they talk about is sex. Yeah, just like you do, no matter how old you are. And so that's what I want to talk about on this channel, that no matter how old you get, if you have fairly decent genes and you age with some luck on your side, that you're able to manage on your own for a while and live independently, aging is nothing to be afraid of. I mean, it's the natural course of events. And that's what I want to talk about. I am, as I've said, I'm 87 now. For a very long time, I have been supporting myself. I continue to do that. I have to do that. I am a writer, a life coach, and freelance editor. I have clients. I write my own books. I have published 57 titles on Amazon since I turned 72. That was, I started writing I've been writing since I was in high school. I published my first cookbook in, I think it was 1976. I was in my early 30s. But I didn't start writing fiction until after that. And I didn't start publishing fiction online on Amazon until I was 72. And I realized I didn't have enough time left to go looking for an agent who was interested in my fiction. And Amazon came along, and it was a new thing. And so I took a course. I learned how to get my books published, and I was off and running. And I am still doing it. I am working on the 6th volume of a series. Excuse me. And I hope to continue writing my fiction for as long as I can sit at a typewriter or computer. My typewriter days are over. But if you're interested to hear more about what it's like to be my age and continue living life, enjoying life, sometimes not enjoying life, excuse me, I have a little tickle in my throat, but living life the way everybody else does, stick around, give me a follow, and let's be friends. Take care.